اكيد في قصص حتضل معنا مثل working from home, working more online, remote businesses, remote deliveries, just changing a bit of the things that we do with business models تبعنا. So just a little introduction.
هاي كيفكم؟ انه انا بيرلا، بس قبل ما نبلش ديسكشن خليني اعرفكم شوي على حالي. انا لي around 21 to 22 years working in the communication sector. I got my initial training at B.O.TLebanon, where I spent around 6 to 7 years working on the Levant on very big brands like Procter and Gamble and Boncaude, etc. And then I moved to BBDO, where I was heading the public relations for the Levant area, and then expanded into Qatar, Iraq, and North Africa. Then I moved to Saudi, where I stayed 3 years, also continuing my work with heading the agency and responsible of strategy development and the whole agency's direction. Initially, I'm the master's degree in clinical psychology, and then I developed a passion for crisis management. So in 2006, I specialized in that, بالإذا. And then I deepened my knowledge in social media while keeping my passion for crisis management and studying reputation management in a digital world. So this is me. وشو ما عندكم أسئلة لإلي, you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram. So here we go. Wassim.
Hi again. So أنا Perla في كتير overlap بالpath تبعنا because I also started B.O.TLebanon وبعدين نقلت على BBDO. So B.O.TLebanon بلشت working on the Middle East and Europe على Procter and Gamble, على locally على Exotica, Mercedes, Tachi, so different kinds of businesses. بعدين I moved to BBDO Kuwait, where I actually met Perla. And هونيك كمان I was working on automotive brands such as Chevrolet and Cadillac, banking, home furnishing, government, and culture. وكمان I don't come from a marketing communications background. I actually have a BS in computer science, BA English literature, and a minor in marketing. And here we are.
And now we can start. So مثل ما كلنا بنعرف يعني we're not going to dwell on that. Yeah. These are really unprecedented times in Lebanon, and not because of Corona. هلا مزبوط the whole world is suffering from the COVID-19 crisis. بس نحن our crisis started way before that, يعني mainly in summer 2019. It's a very severe economic crisis like nothing else the country has experienced before. So is suffering today, suffering due to many reasons. واحدة منهم آخر شيء هي اللوك داون, بس this isn't the main reason. هي salary reduction, هي people are being laid off, هي كمان كل payment transfers يلي ودت لكل shortage من كل العالم يلي بيجيبوا أغراض من برا, يلي هن كتير شركات so unless really الواحد واحدة من كم شركة اللي هن محظوظين اللي عم يشتغلوا بالسانيتيشن أو مثل ديتول أو مثل نتفليكس اللي هن home entertainment, all companies are passing through very, very challenging times and asking themselves how can they restructure and how can they change to survive. And the key word here is change. ونحن شغلة that we really need to dwell on and always remember that in Lebanon we always have a strength, which is an adaptation, and maybe we are a bit superior to the rest of the world in that sense. So instead of simply focusing on the negative and looking at our business, seeing it as it is, وبعدين عم نقول ما عم تمشي, actually we are really unprecedented time in Lebanon. So this has changed. the psychology has changed, your purchase power change, purchase behavior change. So we definitely need to adapt. هيدا إذا بدنا ناخذ lesson هي adaptation and change. هلا, to be very honest with you, no one has the perfect recipe. This is not a 1 + 1 = 2 kind of session. لأنه not one marketeer in the world today can give you the perfect steps to simply take your company elsewhere. But what we can offer you is a kind of crisis management experience to lead you towards finding your own answers depending on what your company is. وهيدي definitely, if you need help later on and you feel that you have a business that's a bit more challenging than the other businesses, please stay in touch. We're ready to help. This is what the whole initiative is about. But what we're trying now to do is to immune your company. So when times change again back to normal, we end up like stronger companies, better companies, and we don't lose our audience and our customers meanwhile. So Wassim.
Okay, so with everything in mind اللي حكيت عنه Perla, how we can head towards the adaptation to survive, how to manage the crisis اللي عنا إياها. Obviously, the 101 of our communication is knowing who we're talking to and what exactly they need so that we know how we can help them. So basically, knowing our own brand, نحن بنعرف what we stand for, what the services that we have, the products, كل شيء عنا إياه, and who we speak to. We need, based on this combination, we need to figure out in times of crisis how we can help and contribute more. لأنه in normal days, we're the go-to supplier or company or brand for our clients as a reflex. بيعرفونا بيعرف نحن شو بنعمل, and this doesn't change. But when we go into a crisis situation, when things get tough, we need to know how we can step our game up to offer them a more focused, a more adapted response of service. So some things to consider. نحن فينا to step in as a company to provide updates على الكرايسيس اللي عم بتصير, whether it's COVID, whether it's the economic crisis, whether it's anything at the foreign exchange rate, anything that's going on. Can we do something about our business model to make it more flexible, to make it more compatible باللي عم بيصير هلا, in terms of going online, in terms of setting up e-commerce, in terms of small things like setting up delivery services that we might not have had. في شيء لازم نخلي الكاستمرز تبعنا يعرفوا عنه in terms of changes in our business model or our industry, that we would be experts or we would be the credible source of information for. So we need to understand these things and think about all these points and questions to figure out exactly how we can help and how we can contribute. So if we start considering the things that we can do in terms of content, in terms of communication, first and foremost, how informative can we be? Can we be a source of information and advice? So with the corona outbreak, for example, هلا بالعالم, the example that we see from National Geographic is that they are offering continuous updates على COVID-19 with free access and continuous updates. So you can continue to find out what you can do in terms of awareness, in terms of prevention, in terms of numbers, in terms of medical breakthroughs. So you can act as a source of information, and this is something that obviously a brand like National Geographic is fully and uniquely equipped to do.
Wassim, in this case, you're talking about National Geographic, which has always been kind of a source for information. But if we're talking about, let's say, a completely different brand, are they in a role where they can share information about COVID, or they can share information that are not directly related to their brand, just to get information out there?
Sure. Yani, for example, one of the brands that we work with is an NGO in Lebanon that targets young women with education programs, for example. And so usually the content that we provide on social media platforms, for example, is inspirational quotes, event summaries, workshops, etc., etc. But in this case, because there is an invested concern and interest in the welfare of these girls, for example, we took content from the WHO, for example, and from UNICEF, and we kind of packaged it a bit in a simplified way, for example, as in the 5 steps to protect yourself from infection. How you can still be on top of your digital training from the safety of your own home, and how to practice social distancing. But it's framed in a cuter way because the target is between 15 and 18, just to make it still relevant, but also pertinent to what's going on بالعالم، مش إنه جايبينه من برا وحاطينه.
So basically what we're telling our audience, so regardless of what their business is or where their brand is or what is the orientation of their product, if they do want to provide information where the information is valid, just like like the times we are living in today, it is valid for them to do so.
Yes, definitely. بس هون أكيد the watch out is the source. يعني ما نجرب نفوت false information rumors لأنه كمان إنه هون the company encounters the risk of losing credibility. So بدنا نخلي دايما sources إنه يكونوا يلي هن whether it's the ministry, it's the WHO, if we're tackling health issue يعني بس ننتبه على sources. And definitely any company can become a source of information and advice.
All right. Thank you. I'll let you to it. But I just want to remind all our attendees إنه إذا عندهم أسئلة please يحطون بالcomment section إن كان على فيسبوك لايف أو إن كان هون.
Cool.
هذا ما نسمع.
Okay, so كمان مثل ما حطينا under each kind of content that we can do or service that we can provide, حطينا what is the gain. So just like the special gains that we can get by doing something like providing information and advice. So in this case, we can widen our target audience and benefit from subscriptions or followers or potential clients after the crisis, because we have shown them that we are concerned about the same things that they're concerned about, and so we're kind of building a rapport or establishing brand affinity with these potential clients, for example, and this is why we become more relevant and more appealing to them as a brand. The second thing that we can talk about is how we can change our operations to online sales and deliveries, for example, and of course communicate that accordingly. So here we see an example of a local boutique in Lebanon that changed their business model by introducing something very simple like delivery in the times when كل physical stores were forced to close because of COVID-19. And so by introducing a delivery service through their own teams, they were able to continue not business as usual, but they were able to retain كثير من الشغل تبعهم لأنه the clients تبعهم were still able to purchase the same product that they usually get, but delivered to their own doorstep. Obviously, within the communication, it's always recommended to tell people that you're taking obviously the proper precautions by keeping safe and everything, so that it doesn't scare them away. Another example that we see as well from the same brand is cocktails at home. So they introduced as well a product which basically you can buy, and then it's a recipe to make the actual cocktails at home. So again, you have access to their own products. They are able to sell their own products and make a profit, while you are able to benefit from نفس products, again from the safety of your own home. Obviously في غير businesses هلا جربوا يعملوا نفس الشيء. For example, personal trainers لما يجوا يعملوا house visits by practicing social distancing, of course. Hairdressers, etc. So wherever that was possible, people adapted and kind of introduced a different way of doing things تقدروا يكملوا البزنس تبعهم إلى حد ما.
وهون actually بس تزيد إنه هون the brilliant idea is not only the online delivery. What they did إذا بنشوف بالصورة اللي على اليمين is they created a product that didn't exist before. So this was not the type of product that they used to sell اللي هن الcocktail bundles. هلا it was custom made for the lockdown, for the crisis. So هيدا kind of يعني the change والadaptability اللي عم نحكي عنها. not to stake, just to see what the people need and see how we can get close to that, essentially.
Yeah, so it's basically repositioning an existing service or product in a way that makes more sense to the conditions that we're living. The second point, who we're providing entertainment. So this is, obviously it's very self-evident. This can take different shapes and forms, from online classes that you can see on Facebook and Instagram Live, that video that shows you how to mix drinks, personal trainers giving you a course on their own channels for you to keep up with them and actually do the thing. Dance instructors, yoga, Zumba, all these businesses, all these people عملوا live content and online content so that their customers and potential new customers would benefit from that and be able to do that from the safety of their own home. And this is where you become more likable as a brand, because again it becomes more personal. You're addressing these people من بيتنا لبيتهم, again بصير في عندنا more followers obviously, and it all translates later on into actual business. Offering advice and help. So what we're talking about as well is basically helping people out in the sense that you help them cope with what they're dealing with right now, which means you can give them free sessions, for example, online to certain services such as, again, exercise, dance, certain online courses. Going back to the NGO that we were mentioning before, a lot of their partners right now are giving very interesting courses completely free online on their platforms: graphic design, augmented reality, coding. So these are very advanced digital training workshops that are being given completely belish, which again still serves the purpose of the brand, which is to empower and enable these young girls, for example. But at the same time, given the fact انه ايام صعبه ما فينا نظهر برات البيت, we can't go and see attend the class in person, these services were being offered online and were being offered for free. So again, the brand is establishing a very good rapport مع followers, is establishing a very good relationship, and is coming off as someone who understands that the target or their audience is in need of عم بيواجه صعوبة, and how we can still deliver the same product to them despite these challenges. And the final idea here is how we can create new opportunities and ideas. So we kind of it comes down to like innovation, product innovation, and coming up with new ideas. So we all know these funny T-shirts, for example, that people usually do. I went to Hawaii and all I got was a stupid mug or whatever. So again, we turn a difficult situation, for example, into slightly light. We don't make fun of it, but we make it a bit lighter by this T-shirt that we see, for example, which is "I survived the great toilet paper shortage of 2020." Because we all know كيف دغري, especially برا مش عندنا بلبنان, صار في هالهجوم على toilet paper where all the supermarkets were running out of toilet paper. So this gave this T-shirt designer an idea to come up with something that would sell automatically. So this again, within your business model, خلقنا product جديد, and it is relevant immediately to what is going on right now, and it will generate immediate sales and customers.
أنا بنط هيك مثل البقوسة. أول شيء super interesting so far. Thank you so much. I just wanted to intervene لأقول للattendees إنه if they want your opinion on what they're doing.
We can't hear you.
Is it better now? Can you hear me now? Test. Can you hear me? اوكي ومفروض هلا تكون عم تسمعوني منيح.
أو كانت مشكلة من عنا ما بعرف.
Okay. So basically, thanks for everyone who's saying إنه بيقدروا يسمعوا. Very active attendance. So كنت عم بقول للattendees إنه if they want your opinion live now on what they're trying to do in these times, in these tough times, إنه please share your experience of what you're doing on the chat box. And at the end of the session, Perla and Wassim can هيك choose a couple and go through them. فاجأتكم فيها. But just to know what are a couple of strategies out there. Yeah, back to you.
في question ما سمعناها
شربل, did you have a question؟ لأنه قطش السيجنال عنا.
قطشت شوي عنا إيه.
Okay. إذا في question نرجع chime in.
لا بس I pinned on the chat box.
Yes.
Okay, so basically إذا حدا عنده سؤال أو حدا بده يخبرنا هو شو عم بيعمل بشركته بهيدي الفترة, they can take your opinion on it at the end of the session. You'll choose a couple of cases and go through them.
Okay, deal.
Right?
Okay, so after looking at these 5 things that we can possibly do, maybe based on what Sherbel was saying, and people might have different kind of angles as well for content that they can create or do, how we can craft these new messages. Today, in terms of messaging, especially in times of crisis, في certain guidelines that we have to keep in mind. لأنه in times of crisis, a big chunk of people become invested stakeholders, whether it's businesses in the businesses internally. So it's very important that a company or a business as a whole is aligned internally on a certain course of action, a certain vision, a certain action plan, a certain way of saying things, because we have to decide what needs to be said and make sure everybody understands that decision. Because what gets shared externally cannot be open for interpretation. مش معقول يكون في أكثر من جواب يطلع برات الشركة أو يطلع statement من البزنس بتقول شيء بعدين يقول شيء ثاني، لأنه نخسر credibility تبعنا بالمرة.
وهولي مثلا I think recently كلكم لاحظتوا الرومرز اللي عم تطلع على محل عم بيسكر، مول عم بيسكر، حتى ما نسمي أسامي، على products رح ينقطعوا، شركة ما بقى رح تجيب products, and these probably the rumors هلا fine معنا proof على الموضوع, but usually in history those rumors they start with someone from the team saying something not very accurate to a neighbor. Usually نحن عندنا بلبنان 1:15 ratio, يعني any employee اللي صار عنده معلومات حب يقول نحن ما بقى عم نجيب product, usually he can reach 15 people بين أهله بين جيران أهله بين etc. So هيدا ال 1:15 ratio that we have in countries like Lebanon is very dangerous in communication. So everyone should be aligned. A salesperson cannot go maybe delivering products ويقول إيه والله يمكن ننقطع, and then the CEO declares that the company is securing stocks, example. So alignment, يعني we cannot stress enough على how alignment is important.
After alignment في عندنا responsibility. So اليوم in case of business changes, clients ما حيحبوا يوصلون updates على Instagram post for example أو a quick SMS. Usually in this case بيطلع بركي a press release أو an email shot or something that is formal and coming from the management of the company itself that looks as corporate and as formal as possible to advise on these changes. And this can be between business to business, إذا في a company and their suppliers, for example, or a company and their clients. If there's any holdup, if there's anything that needs to be communicated, it has to be done through formal channels by the most credible source, اللي هو المانجمنت تبع الشركة. Building on that is clarity. Unclear messages again lead to frustration, lead to loss of faith in the brand, and for example اللي كان عم بيصير ب the banking industry وبعدنا هلا بالbanking sector بلبنان, where every day we wake up and we find out انه في a new تعميم عم بيطلع or a new operation بدها تنعمل, and we're always asking each other سمعتوا مزبوطة مش مزبوطة, لأنه we hear from different sources and it ends up being very muddled وما عم نعرف شو المزبوط شو الغلط. حتى هون in terms of reassurance, for example, businesses like, for example, gyms, like office spaces, like كل شيء فيه import and export, for example, في قصص بتكون ongoing. So إذا أنا بالجيم for example كنت دافع all the next 3 months and then obviously the gym هلا سكر. I need to find out. I need to find out what happens to my subscription, and I don't have to go and ask. The business itself, the gym, يكون على عاتقه يحمل ويقول لزبوناته to give them the update إنه guys, the subscriptions have been put on hold, for example. وقت نرجع نفتح بتكمل عادي. That's just an example. So, for example, is a few ongoing projects in terms of production of certain elements. Where production كله تسكر. So all of that has to be communicated to the clients before they come and ask, to avoid, again, frustration, because we have a better chance of controlling the damage and putting people at ease if we approach them first and preempt it versus them coming to us and we have to deal with it on the spot. And the last one, obviously, it goes without saying, is staying current. So اليوم, especially in times like this, when COVID, obviously, كل يوم كنا عم نوعى ونلاقي في عنا news, the economic crisis بلبنان, again, going back to the banking sector and other things, where كل يوم بنوعى نسأل شو صار سعر الدولار اليوم، قد صار كيلو حامض اليوم، هول القصص كلهم اللي عم تغير بليل وضحاها. So it's very important for us as businesses to stay current. لأنه اليوم we cannot afford to go to people with outdated information, because outdated means it's inaccurate. بطلت مضبوطة, it's no longer relevant, and again, people lose their faith in us. Communication clusters. So only just another reminder that obviously we have an audience, but the audience is broken down. News and media are one thing, clients are another, general public, potential customers are a third. So any kind of business today has at least two of these to deal with, whether it's their clients or the general public. And in the eyes of the media, for bigger corporations, let's say the banking sector, big investment companies, they have to keep in mind that different audiences exist, and they expect different kinds of content to be fed to them. And this can mean this affects the information availability, the accessibility to what we have to offer, different kinds of purchasing and acquisition methods. And this links back to what we were talking about before. So it all boils down to, Hone, the summary is, we should define who is the voice of the company. So once the alignments are done, everything is set in place, مش معقول يكون في a million point of contact to speak on behalf of the company, because that automatically creates room for error. So بيكون في communication teams that handle the crisis and communication teams that handle إذا بدنا be the face of the company with the media, for example. So it all boils down to how big the company is and how sensitive the nature of its information and its businesses. Crafting your message. It's very important to keep in mind how we would communicate to people. So even if we are going to entertain, even we're going to give them advice, we need to avoid coming off as opportunistic. So اليوم, as a business, for a slight second, comes off as if they are making use أو عم بيستفيدوا على ظهر الكرايسيس الموجودة هلا to make profit, that could mean a complete catastrophe. لأنه اليوم we cannot take something that is affecting people's livelihood and people's actual lives and take it into something that is make it a business opportunity for us. So it's not about that. So اليوم إذا نرجع للإكزامبل شفناها قبل, is a company wants to initiate a delivery service تتوصل البرودكتس تبعها للكلاينتس تبعها, ما فيها تجي تقول له اليوم انه خي اجى الكورنتين هات نطلع انه هات نستفيد ونبلش نوصلكم برودكتس على شو اسمه. It's not. It's supposed to come off as a message of support. Since you guys are stuck at home, we have come up with a way to get your favorite products to you, and this is how it is. So obviously there is a business game behind it, but it still comes off as supportive and not opportunistic. Within the crafting of the message, obviously there are words and tonalities that we have to be concerned with. So a general guideline here is it's better to be too serious, حدا يشوفنا يفكرنا we're being too serious, than to be sorry for making a joke and being too witty and casual about what's going on. So we keep it positive, we keep it supportive, we keep it helpful whenever we give advice, but we do not make it like a joke. We should always think that we should be neutral. So we should not use words that come off as aggressive. So take advantage, this is what you have to gain, the profit from this is this. No, we make it, yeah. So we make it more, this is how we are, you can contribute to the discussion. Let's connect and discuss this and that. how we can best play a role in your life during these challenging times. So again, it all comes down to proper word choice to ensure we're speaking to to our clients and to our customers and to our potential clients بطريقه شوي personal in the sense انه بنفهمهم ونحن مش عايشين in la la land ولا we're here to make money off of them in their time of stress, but we are here to support them in however we can. Ease up on urgency. So if we had a promotion going on, for example, ما نقول للعالم hurry up, stocks are running low. So this is completely not the time to appeal to people's sense of urgency.
Create more anxiety in the process.
And stay optimistic, but don't overpromise. So again, Hone, leading back to the first point is that you want to stay positive, but again, you don't want to seem disconnected from reality. إنه ما في شيء وبكره حيرجع نهار جديد، وسبيشلي احنا اللبنانيين كثير بنحب نعملها هيدي، انه نحكي بطريقه انه لا في اون روز وكل شيء بخير. لا، we need to stay optimistic because that is what keeps us going as Lebanese people historically, but not to overpromise and to sound a bit delusional. And finally, always keep in mind to check for insensitive words. So here's a list that you can see, which is like a killer deal, how to create contagious content, let's create a viral video. These words automatically, when you look at them in the time that we're facing right now, they're automatically a bit, you cringe when you hear them.
They create rejection.
مش فقتهم أبدا.
Yeah.
So basically that kind of closes the section of the kind of content that we can create and what to keep in mind when we are crafting these messages and how to deliver them to the different kinds of audiences through the proper channels. So this upcoming session is basically how the businesses can further be, affirm their presence in the sense that they are always there for their customers and they are there hearing them and supporting them in their times of need.
All right, so رجعت جيت. So basically بس كان بدنا نرجع للسلايد اللي قبلها. I want us to engage our attendees by them supporting us in creating the worst kind of caption معقول حدا يكتبها. So everyone اللي عم يسمع, if you are able to take a screenshot of this watch out slide and try to craft the worst possible caption that you can think of and write it in the chat box, وبنرجع بنقريهم سوا بالاخر وبنشوف how wrong things went, because definitely it will go wrong. So Perla and Wassim, sorry to interrupt for the fourth time.
it would be a funny exercise. بالاخص هونا لهم اياها. يعني انا هلا براسي بس سالت السؤال تبع create
the worst caption.
No, the worst caption. I have like a million ideas. This is gonna be fun. So please, guys, we all need to lighten up these days a bit.
Can't wait to hear the worst possible outcomes.
Exactly.
All right. واجان بس بدي اقول هاي للكل. هشام ويلكم، عماد، ليا، بيا، رانيا، رنا، ريتا، ستيفاني، الكل. يعني اذا I missed someone، عبد الله، there's a lot of you out there. So بس بدي اقول هاي للي بعد ما سلمنا عليهم على الشات بوكس welcome on board. if you've missed anything بس لكم حيرجع نبعت الريبلاي لينك باخر السيشن لترجعوا تحضروها عن جديد so you won't miss anything. Back to you, Alter Talks.
And hi everyone, again from Perla and myself.
Hi. يعني نحن ما بقى مطولين. How do I? Okay, thank you. نحن ما بقى مطولين بس one key message after all. بعرف this can be very confusing for a lot of companies. They don't know what to say, how to say it. Depending كمان في some industries things can be very tricky. But it makes us very sad, all marketeers and communication people, to see a lot of brands today in the market going silent. And يعني we can't say it enough, but going silent is really not an option. وهون please allow me to read a quote, and we're going to keep it as is. If organizations can become the trusted voices in their fields, the go-to resources for solid information, they will be doing a service to themselves as well as the Commonwealth. And my prediction is that they will recover in a far stronger reputational position than those who stay silent. And this was said by one of the biggest crisis strategists, and that's why we quoted him. Because today you can go with a neutral content if you don't have product to sell. Even if adaptation is very tough for your company, you can always communicate something مثل ما مرقنا فيهم, even if it's advice, even if it's entertainment, even if it's anything, just to make people understand that you are with them. But staying silent is not an option for two main reasons. One of them, your audience will perceive you as distant and completely unconcerned, and you will miss out on a chance to establish relevant and build affinity. كلنا بنعرف إنه without affinity of the audience with your brand, you kind of don't have a brand anymore. And the second reason is if you're not talking to your audience, they will listen to other brands who are talking to them right now. And when this whole phase is over, they will stick with the other brands. So don't assume that you can stay silent and not connect with everyone. And when this is over, everything will get back to normal. It's not. No, it's not really true. Oh, right. So our kind of last advice on a communication level is today when your target audience anxiety is up the roof, you need to be a psychologist. Before being a brand who sells or a shop or anything else, you need to understand what your people need. So just a few tips. One, address the reviewers preferably by name. Even on social media, if you didn't do it before, try to make it more personal. Talk to people by name, respond to every single comment by name also. So mention that you appreciate the comment, even if people are being frustrated and they're posting like harsh comments. You have to understand that they're coming from a state of mind that's very frustrated and very anxious. And always acknowledge the people for being upset, especially nowadays. They have a million reasons to be upset: delays in delivery, orders, pending subscription, when everything is going wrong. Try to be very specific in your explanations. People always understand. So even if you have a delay in delivery for no obvious reason except that you have maybe half the drivers that you used to have, try to explain it to people. People appreciate honesty and transparency, and this was in the first part we went over. So, and let them know at least that you are trying to resolve the issue. Just try to be a psychologist, or try to be a mom maybe as well. So it's being a mom / psychologist. That's the best advice anyone can give a brand right now.
سوري عم بضحك بس عم بقرا الكابشنز الكابشنز تبع فيلان تبع شربل هلا كتبها. وفي حدا كتب لا ينضف لبنان تسلموا للنسوان by فيلان. That was an actual caption.
Yeah.
So great.
بس شربل good one. بفتكر لهلا انت عم تربح. بس let's see what else you get. Come on guys. That's not bad. More contagious than the coronavirus.
The last section ما هنفوت فيه كتير بالديتيلز لأنه there is a lot of text in there if you want, but we kept this here as a little instruction manual, a mini manual about how you can take your business online, because today في كتير businesses بلبنان they are still brick and mortar أو حتى they are online, they are present online, but they don't really use their online presence for business purposes. They just use it maybe as a display of products, but they don't really sell online. So this is basically kind of a quick guideline or a quick startup to how you can start, because you don't, these days, we all know you don't have to have an actual website to start being present and selling online. You can start with something as simple as an Instagram or Facebook page. It's free, it's everybody is on it, and it can act as an immediate platform for you to show your products and reach out to people, whether organically or through paid promotions. Let customers know how they can contact you to place orders, because especially in these times, very simple things happened where the actual landline تبع البوتيك أو تبع الstores or whatever is no longer accessible because the physical store is closed. So people were completely lost as how can I reach you to place my orders. share measures you are taking to keep safe so clients are reassured. So again, in the case of COVID, how people were maintaining the sanitization to ensure people are relevant, are reassured. Sorry. Express gratitude for your community and show solidarity. So basically, it's very important to acknowledge that the reason why businesses are still afloat is because of their loyal customers and because they belong to a community that supports them. So when you express gratitude بالأيام الصعبة, it shows people that you really do appreciate them and don't take them for granted. And building on that, keep up customer relationships, have a one-on-one where possible with your top clients, for example. Be available as much as possible because this is a time where العالم كتير حتسأل أسئلة. حتسأل أسئلة بالكي إحنا بالنسبة لنا بالكي تكون أسئلة تافهة بس for them it is a question they need to answer because خلص بدهم شيء ويروقوا لأنه there was a constant and now it's no longer there. So how can we still reassure them when they're wrong and to answer all of the questions to bring them back to a state of calmness. Host online classes, events, Q&As, product showcases. So هون basically if you go on Instagram Live أو مثل ما هلا عم يصير على Zoom, we can have classes, we can have Q&As to answer people's questions, we can do interactive sessions, for example. So هون again, we are there and present and we are available for our clients for a short period of time فكروا حالهم انه خسرونا او احنا خسرناهم وما بقى فينا نحكي مع بعض. So this is again how we can keep the conversation going. Explore the possibility of delivery services for your business. Prepare an FAQ, so frequently asked questions. You prepare that document and then you share it with your stakeholders who are facing the clients. So your community managers online, your sales reps, كل هالعالم بيكون معهم هالFAQs so that if anybody asks them a question, they know exactly how to answer it and it's the same answer by all people. And finally, if your business involves memberships and time-based subscriptions, حكينا قبل مثل gyms, for example, be clear about how they are currently being handled so we avoid anxiety and frustration.
taking شوي أعطيكم بريك صغيرة يعطيكم العافية so far. You've been talking for 40 minutes. It's a lot. يعطيكم العافية. هلا مي أنا ناطر كنت المي.
يعني Karen, very good one.
أيوة.
Not bad at all. Yeah.
بس بدي أقول our most engaged participant اللي بيشارك بهيدا whoever is participating in this game and whoever participates in the questions round في a special surprise لهم منا ومن Alter Talks. So I highly encourage everyone اللي بعد ما شارك يشارك. So far we've seen a lot. بعد عنا بعتقد بس one slide. شفنا كتير قبل ما ننهي.
ها؟
فينا نبلش بالquestions.
Yeah. I will open up the question box اللي عنده أسئلة. بركي ماريا كمان بتساعدنا شوي بالquestion. نفتحها للباقي يقدروا يبلشوا يجاوبوا عن الأسئلة. يحطوا يكتبوا الأسئلة طبعا. بس basically كان بدي بس نوقف to pause before we reach to the end where عم نحس إنه people are more engaging هالفترة مع البراندز. يعني عم بيحبون أكتر، عم يتعاطفوا معهم أكتر. يعني حتى عم نشوف brand ambassadors that we've never يعني this is a phenomenon that we've never seen before. إنه في عالم they're going in, they're sharing a brand, a post of a brand, and they're telling people إنه هيدول بعضهم ما غلوا أسعارهم، بعضهم كتير منيح، اشتروا هيدا، دافعوا عن عم بيحمون. They're kind of standing on the front lines, which is really heartwarming. لأنه we've never seen this done before on organic level. Usually it's influencers that you pay thousands of dollars to ليك يكتبوا كلمتين عن البراند ويتصوروا حدا. So now actually we're seeing these crusaders, as I'm saying, crusaders for these brands. What's happening there? كيف عم how would you like كيف بدي أقول كيف تفسروها لهيدا الفينومينون؟
هيدا الفينومينون I think هلا people لأنه are letting go a bit on the business side. يعني حتى الانفلونسرز هلا no one is paying them to post anything. So they have to post something and they have to fill content. لأن الانفلونسر بالنهاية he acts like a brand. He's exactly as a brand. So هلا يلي عم يعملوا also they need to show compassion, they need to show understanding of the target audience, of their anxieties, of so يلي عم بيجربوا يعملوه كمان وعم نشوفها كلهم منهم من الانفلونسرز they're sharing for free their eating tips on how to stay skinny etc. in their kitchen. They're sharing their exercises, they're supporting other brands لأنه other brands are showing a social aspect كمان of things لأنه هلا business side let's say مش ما نسميه business side نسميه profit side هلا it dropped a bit. So today no one is making money بس اليوم what you can make is a credibility. So and this is what they're doing, this is what the brands are doing يلي عم يعرفوا يشتغلوا, they are building a credibility even if they're not making immediate sales. And وهول يلي كمان الانفلونسرز مثل البراند this is what exactly they are doing. So هيدا phenomenon بس قريبا شرب يعني هلا طمنك قريبا it's gonna disappear. So the second business is back to normal and brands are paying influencers again, you're not gonna see this phenomenon. بس هلا لأنه no one is paying them and they're better fill the content and show that they are down with the people.
في كمان on a more positive note الكروسيدرز اللي كنت عم تحكي عنه كمان انت اللي هن probably منهم the actual influencers but they are people like me and you and Perla who because we understand اليوم that people are going through a certain economic crisis for example لما الاقي انه في a business that is not jumping the gun او عم بيغلوا على العميانه or they can still sympathize with the people in their time of need. There is a huge emotional bond here because you no longer look at it as consumer business. You look at it as I'm in the need and you're providing me the source of that need. So, and it's not just and when it affects my immediate survival, which is food, for example, and insurance, whatever, and you feel that there is a business that is not just turning the blind eye and بس حتى business profit agenda بحس automatically it's a reflex. I think كلنا عم نعملها هيدي هلا كلنا عم نخبر بعض for example انه هيدي البزنس بعدها عم تعمل 1005 او هيدي البزنس so this is obviously I think a natural reflex where we start endorsing people that are on our side.
I am trying to read the question.
This is great. So we're starting to get some questions. We'll answer them من بعد آخر slide. Back to you. Anna, I will.
We're almost done.
Yeah. Okay, so this last slide ما رح أفوت فيها بالديتيلز كتير لأنه it's basically just a tip based on what happened to all of us these days is whoever we are, we all started working from home one way or the other. We're still working full capacity, we're still working at half capacity, but we are working from home nevertheless. So these are just tips on how you can turn this into a bit of a blessing in disguise. لأنه it can easily and quickly turn into a nightmare because today our homes are our safe places, our safe havens. We can afford to work there for a day or two بس لما نشتغل هونيك for a long period of time بصير براسنا بيتنا هو equal شغل. So mentally it becomes very stressful and we lost our escape. So كنا نفل نشتغل على البيت كمان ننفس ونرتاح and now that's no longer an option. So how we can turn this around is that you can benefit from the time and the convenience if you want that staying at home gives you to kind of turn it into something productive and positive because you do have more time versus the time you lost on the commute to work versus the time lost being in a meeting where you're probably going to participate 5 minutes and listen for 40. So it's how to best turn this to a good environment. في شغله بس نسميها context switching which is basically today even if you're working from home and you decide to get up and make a cup of coffee, for example, this is something where when you switch your context, so you move from work mode to personal mode, it can take you up to like 30 minutes, 25 minutes to switch back to that work mode. So just keep that in mind because that is precious time that you're losing when you're switching context. Some papers talked about simulating commutes. So you want to keep the idea of a working day in place. Some people would actually walk out of their homes, go for a bit of a walk and come back to kind of simulate the commute of the drive to their offices to kind of have that structure of a 9 to 5 day to keep them also as a Bitcoin in the same mindset of a working day. And on a corporate level towards employees, it is more important than ever to maintain communication with employees. اليوم لما الشركات, the bigger they are, the more complex it gets, of course. But today, companies all around the world have sent their employees home. And so they can't just do it overnight and expect them to continue working like nothing has changed. So it's very important إنه يحكوا ويدل فيك انت, internal emails, managers talking to their support, to their team members, for example, they don't know how to خليهم up to date so that we can keep the company spirit going, because now it's more important than ever to keep everybody motivated and dedicated, because stress. So وشغل من البيت. So how can we just keep the dynamic going until hopefully this crisis flies over. So we'll get to the question section now, but I just wanted to put this slide up there, and on top there's the button that says get in touch, email us. So Yom, if you basically, based on what you guys have seen in terms of content strategies, in terms of further questions you might have, in terms of potential collaborations that you might want to talk about and discuss, these are our contact information, and on top you've got the contact form for our website, so you can go there and fill it out, and it would send the message to us, and we can get back to you as soon as possible.
We're happy to help.
Sharbil.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Merci كتير. It was very insightful. بعتقد everyone here agrees as well. It's time for questions and answers. So basically بس قبل كثير بسرعة كان بدي احكي عن working from home. It's very interesting to see the biggest challenges of our attendees that are they are facing. What hardships are they facing with their employees? So if you can just share that with us in the comment section while we start answering a couple of questions. So the first question that we have,
I think we will miss some up. Okay. Repeated messages. Okay. Hi,
Rania. Our first question is from Rania.
Hey, hi, Rania. I'm not sure we fully understand if you're talking about a product, مثلا, about selling a product. Here definitely repetitive messaging is the core of every communication strategy. But depending on what we're talking about, if you're mentioning a product مثلا, and you want to do kind of repetition strategy to be able to push for this product, in this time you have to be a bit creative. So يمكن نحكي أكثر عن indirect communication. More than sensitivity. Example, مثلا, let me give you an example. If you're selling toys, let's talk about quality time with the family and repeat tips about the quality time with the family, and instead of simply pushing for the product sale and try to talk about parental bonding, etc. مثلا أنا عم بعطي هيك. هلا يا ريت فيك تعطينا شوي more details on your product or your business. It would be helpful to answer this.
هلا أنا كمان and just to add to that is that the frequency of course has to be less. يعني اليوم لا هذا is the question. So اليوم if somebody تقول في عنا promotions for example as an idea. So as a fee promotions that we used to communicate all every other day, for example, I understand the question is that it might come off as insensitive or disconnected, so we keep hammering the same kind of messaging, the same frequency. So I think the first thing to keep in mind is that the frequency has to be relooked at. So ما فينا to keep hammering people like life is normal ما تغير شيء. We have to mitigate, and then we have to couple it with إذا بدنا fillers بالنص. So we used to hammer once every day, and then maybe now between a day and the other فيكم عنا a message that is not business oriented, commercial focused, to kind of make it seem like we understand that the world is not at ease right now. So مش تمندل we're hammering them. I hope that answers the question, but if في شيء specific كنت عم تقول Perla, you answered my question. Thank you. Great.
Great. Patricia, hi Patricia. Our fundraising effort مظبوط. بس is there
scored an increase in their income. Some like they have scored the highest April income.
True.
في question it's continuing.
بس is there a question لأنه نحن ما حطوا لنا إياه على السكرين. Okay. Where?
Sherbel, can you help us out with Patricia's question على NGO?
لأنه شفنا نصها بس we didn't get to the question part.
Okay, we'll get back to Patricia. Iran influencers might be a dying phenomenon. Sure.
هلا dying العالم كل حياتهم رح يضلوا في عندهم voyeurism. So influencers are always going to be there in terms of followers base and popularity. However, مزبوط it's a dying phenomenon. So it's a yes and no answer. It's a dying phenomenon in terms of credibility. يعني by now بلشنا كتير نلاحظها with a lot of marketing campaign. It's been a year. عم نلاحظ إنه influencers they have less effect and less impact on مثلا attendance for an event or brand sales etc. هلا رح يضل عندهم a very very big followers base لأنه العالم بدهم يتسلوا لأنه فايرن and this is the core part of being a human.
How do you juggle replies? Give a specific explanation if there is a reason to individual or on social media. Give a specific explanation if there is a reason. Owan, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right. I'm sorry. There's a reason.
I think are we talking about direct messaging or public posting?
For example, someone on Facebook is sending a certain message accusing a business of doing something wrong, or هلا عم نشوف على التليكوم في دايما ongoing negative messaging. Is this what we're talking about ولا something else?
Listen, if this is what we're talking about, نحن دايما we believe in taking the discussion one-on-one on social media. Unless there's a question يلي سألينا 15 أو 20 شخص على post يعني unless this become a public concern. But if one person is عم يحكي عن concern عنده إياه أو عن غلطة صارت أو هيك, always try to take it offline and yes to give the full explanation لأنه showing transparency always helps the company. ما بعرف إذا فهمناها مزبوط or we answered.
I think this is
that.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Please let us know. Feel free to get in touch if we didn't understand properly the question. We skipped one, Sherbel.
I think it was Patrice's question one. More on the internal communication side, how can you encourage colleagues to share more frequently on their ops update, knowing that knowledge management is fairly absent? As I got the question right, you actually okay. So اليوم في كتير companies, for example, that have the internal comms platforms that they use to communicate. Exactly. So and people obviously use them مفروض for business purposes only, and they keep it as such for the most part. That is actually a first step for you to tell your colleagues and your employees, if you're managing a team, to يستفيدوا من هيدا الديفايس لانه هلا ما بقى في a physical place where everybody is there. ما بقى في وقت كنا نقوم نعمل كوفي بالكيتشن بالمكتب او نروح نقوم نشرب مي او ندخن سيجاره or whatever it is. I don't smoke بس انه هول الووتر كولر بريكس اللي كنا نسميهم are no longer there, and these are important. انه اليوم the employees are not machines and they need to be aware of this as well. So when they lose the opportunity to kind of unwind, build a relationship or keep it going and enrich the kind of teamwork spirit that they have, this is kind of why they should be encouraged to stand with the same communication channels اللي هلا عندهم اياها بين بعضهم تحكوا بين بعض. WhatsApp groups, the company internal comms software that they use.
والتاسك apps كمان لأنه in case شركة منها كبيرة ما عندها الإنترنت, you can find a lot of free apps يلي هي you can monitor your team progress على الoperation, على إذا في عندك task list, who did what, etc. You can download them, everyone can, and they're for free. But especially هلا لانه مش قاعدين بوج بعضنا كلنا بالمكتب، ما في لانه وسيم حط بعضنا. it helps انه تضلكم عارفين التيم تبعكم who's doing what. So نحن we use a couple of these apps. If you want to message us for advice on the names of the apps تما نحكيهم هلا.
Stephanie, how should we handle negative comments on social media? I think this is similar to what Owan was asking. Is that وجاوبنا على السؤال مظبوط؟
هلا هو usually هالكويستشن أكثر شيء بتتسأل. So thank you Stephanie. Negative comments, no, we don't hide them. لأنه for the credibility of the brand we never do. لأنه it might upset and frustrate the customer even more. يعني إذا كان هو مزعوج من service عملتها الشركة أو تأخرت عليه and then he sees his comment deleted, this makes it not like 10 times worse. So usually we avoid it unless we're facing a troll. هون ما رح خلي وسيم يفسر أكثر.
Trolling, when it comes to trolling, for those of you who don't know the expression, is basically a person who makes it يعني شغلته يفوت على الاكونت who just write negative comments all the time. So basically the next he's trolling, and people do this to celebrities, for example, where they just keep saying negative comments. So هون you reach out to the platform itself and you report this person to get him banned and blocked. لأنه there's no way to reason with somebody. أكيد after you do the basics where you can reach out to a person and tell them. But to go back also to the negative comments, في just شغلتين. في people that come in and they write a negative comment which is, let's say, something offensive and has nothing to do with saying you're a bad service or not. They just, it's a swear word. أو مخصكم بالدنيا أو ما بعرف شو. In these cases, you can hide or delete the comment because you are not dismissing somebody's complaint. You're not dismissing an opinion. You're dismissing something that is offensive for the sake of being offensive. And then when you request contact details to handle, don't do this by direct message. يعني اليوم إذا حدا كتب I ordered something and it came in broken, what to do? You reply to that message and you say, please share with us your contact information so that the people who are on the thread see that you've actually responded to this person and then you
this
take
is
it.
very important. لأنه حتى لو أنتوا إنه هي غلطة إجمالا بيعملوها كتير عالم بيقولوا ما خلص رجعنا حكيناه دايركت. طيب أوكي حكيتوه دايركت بس في 100 شخص شافوا البوست غيره ما عرفوا إنكم حكيتوه دايركت. So it should be made clear under the post إنه you are talking to this person directly. أو إذا بعت مسج بتبعتوا له مسج asking for his contact details. أو بتقولوا له we are answering you back in your DM, etc. Let's make it very clear publicly that you're handling this and not ignoring it.
Should we continue posting about general topics during these circumstances, World Day, International Day? Hi, Stephanie. So, few occasions that you can actually still post about, يعني Mother's Day, Women's Day,
Child's Day,
so these happy things, of course, we can, and you can, while you're posting it, you can add a message. You know, like سوالفنا انه Mother's Day for example انه الله خلينا اماتنا اللي اهتموا فينا هلا بالكورنتين بالبيت. انه it could be something like that where our mothers more than before have taken care of us and our entire families, and I think we can all relate to that.
Word Day مثلا it could be a message of unity كمان today, انه celebrating Word Day لانه هي اول مره يمكن تاريخ العالم the whole world is united with the same concerns, with the same fears. So يعني ايه ولا انا عم جرب افكر ب occasion where we really cannot communicate.
I think if this was actually حتى كنا نفكر Valentine's Day for example.
Valentine's Day
we can turn it into a message of love.
حتى والفدو لميوزيك جاية هلا قريبا of course we can.
Because we saw what happened in Italy, for example, videos that people were playing music على البالكوني. So as long as we can turn it around into something that is relevant and doesn't come off as انه اوكي العالم بيميل ونحن بيميل, we can still continue posting about it.
بس هون أهمية عن جد الكابشن always finding an angle relevance. هيدا اللي حكينا فيها يلي هي relevance, وبفتكر إنه 3/4 they're good to go.
Yeah, I guess.
Alright.
الشاب غير ديكور.
صرت برا. It's Friday. It's 4. So it's happy hour. Although we're in quarantine, and creating our own happy environment. So thank you for everyone who participated.
I think all the questions have been answered. لا باتريسا كانت عم تقول لنا انه الفيرست كومنت اللي حطت كانت it was a comment not a question about an observation when Chris said
okay,
Okay, so نحن we've reached the end. Anyone who has any questions, then you all now have the emails of Perla and Wassim. If you don't, you can reach out. You can reply on the emails that you've been received.
Social media.
أو على السوشيال ميديا تبع Alter Talks, or you can reply to my email and I will connect you directly.
They can find us on.
Sales
Okay,
at
while best I want to say, Perla, thank you for everybody who is thanking us. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for BOT for organizing this initiative. The Big Ask initiative is truly just another representative of the Lebanese adaptability and how we can all immediately understand a challenging circumstance and turn it into a way to support each other. So thank you for everybody who is sharing positive comments the text box. We're so happy that you guys found this interesting, and
please get in touch.
We're looking forward to hearing from you on anything.
And a huge clap من BOT team. أنا لحالي عم زقف.
You want another one, please?
A team of thousands of freelancers. Thank you so much. وأنا منه وعلي صرت على آخر.
كان بدي لكم كمان انه ككونكلوجن نحن هلا عم نجرب كمان نجرب نحط تيبس على السوشيال ميديا. So if you want to follow us, عم نجرب as much as possible to be active, to post some tips. If you have a concern على industry معينة مثل ما بعرف إذا أنتم بالrestaurant business, إذا أنتم بالhospitality, please reach out and we will try also to develop specific tips for the industry تبعكم أو البزنس تبعكم. So please stay in touch, social media, emails, even phone calls if you need anything.
Wassim, you can add.
Which page? يلا one second.
So basically these are our phone numbers and our emails. وفوق في في button اللي فوق that says email us. It will take you to our website. The contact us form, you can fill in your name, your email address, and the message, and your contact information. We will get it and we will get back to you as soon as possible. And you can also find us on social media with the same name, Alter Talks. And I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.